Hey guys, well, I'll shoot that again. It's got a bad connection, so here we go again. Just a little response to the video that my friends Alex Blackhouse did to how much protein you need. So Alex was responding to a lot of the posts these days that are on Instagram and Facebook saying about how you don't need to have much meat because you can get this amount of protein from broccoli, etc. And people were saying, well, yeah, I can get all my protein from vegetables, and he was talking about how many vegetables you'd need to eat compared to how much meat or protein you're going to get in the steak. But he was then talking about how much per gram per body weight that you need, for example, and it's something we'll touch on later. Just to start with, I was going to say he's completely correct. Obviously, if you're looking at some meat compared to broccoli, what's going to have more protein in it? It's a no-brainer, right? But people in general eat too much meat. Well, you've got they fall into two camps. You've got people who eat far too much meat and far too much poor quality meat, full of hormones, vaccinations, being fed sawdust, plastic pellets, etc., rendered food, things I'd say stay away from. Animals store their toxins in their fat, and animals are weighed by, they're not weighed by their muscle, they're weighed by their overall total weight. So when you're getting 500 grams of steak, for example, it's not just the muscle, they're weighing the fat and the bone there, and all the toxins are in that. So people are eating far too much toxic meat. And then you've got the people who are eating far too much, not enough meat. Vegans, going vegan for a short period of time can be phenomenal for the body, can be very, very cleansing. And then I've had to deal with vegans who have been vegan for 5 years, and they've got such low energy, bags under their eyes, their teeth are decaying, their hair's falling out. So whatever works for you at the moment, that's fine, not a problem. And I'd always stress quality over quantity. I'd rather you have 2 high quality meals a day than 6 meals that are of poor quality. You know, go and buy the best quality food you can, and that way your body can digest it, eliminate it, assimilate it, and digest it, metabolize it, assimilate it, eliminate it properly, rather than you having all this toxic food you're eating. And when it's more nutrient dense and high quality, your body actually needs less of it, because it's going to take those nutrients, extract them, go, that's it, I'm done. For example, if you've ever opened like Pringles, for example, their headline or their slogans, once you pop you can't stop, because lots of these foods have got chemicals in them, they alter your brain chemistry, they switch off leptin, for example, so you don't know how full you are, and so you keep on eating and eating these foods. And when you're eating more nutrient dense foods, high quality foods, your body goes, that's it, that's enough, I'm done. But far too many people, especially in the health and fitness world, are eating so much meat that it can overburden your digestive tract. It leads to chronic inflammation. And lots of studies have actually shown nowadays that instead of having a high protein day every day, you're actually better off doing it unregulated. So having a low protein day, or even a no protein day. Even bodybuilders, a lot of people in the industry know Ben Paluski, I think it is, even he talks about how he's having all of his bodybuilders have a vegan day, because the body actually uptakes protein synthesis even better when you have a low protein day than you have a high protein day, rather than having protein throughout, which is really interesting. But it's just the same as anything, keeping the body guessing, rather than having all these, same as supplements, training, etc. Keep your body guessing, and that's how it works best. Otherwise, it does just get used to these foods, and that way it just starts to get lazy. So when you start chopping and changing, keeping the body guessing, that's when you get the best results. Now, the question always is, if you're going back to how much protein, do I need this much protein, for example? Is 1 pound of protein for every pound of body weight necessary for optimal muscle gain? Well, to quote someone very famous, not only is it a myth, but it's built on a completely false premise, and I'll show you how false that premise is. Now, if you eat 1 gram of chicken, because people will say, "Oh, I've got 32 grams of protein here because it says 32 grams of chicken," for example. If you eat 1 gram of chicken, how much protein is in that chicken? Well, that all depends on the quality of the chicken and where it's coming from. It's not actually 1 pound of chicken it equals 1 pound of protein. And if you eat 1 gram of chicken from a commercially raised farm full of vaccines, eating all the wrong foods, compared to an organic chicken that's been eating bugs and pasture raised, is that going to have more protein in it than the commercially raised chicken? If you're thinking yes, then you'd be right. And if you eat a gram of protein from lamb or beef, is that going to have more protein in it than a chicken? If you're thinking yes, once again you'd be correct. So from every animal pretty much ranges from 70 to 75% water for every gram of meat they've got. And then you've got fat, and you've got straight connective tissue. And if you look at the Nutrition Almanac, I've got it listed here, a gram of chicken is actually listed to have 0.23 grams of protein, and beef goes up to something like 0.335, 0.36, and every other animal will be somewhere in that spectrum. Now, so when someone says you have to eat a gram of protein for every pound of body weight, that's like saying something like, so we're talking grams of protein per gram of meat here, dude. So yeah, so if you're saying, well, you're saying people say you can eat 1 pound of protein per pound of body weight, right? So that's generally what people say, but it's almost like saying just drink water till you're blue in the face. You know, it's just, everyone's different. I mean, it's completely unscientific really, because it leads to all sorts of athletes, even weekend warriors, over consuming or under consuming protein. Look, it depends on what your goals are, of course. If you're there to build loads of muscle, you're going to need more protein, but you need to take it on how your body feels. It depends. If you're running like a football pitch every week or rugby pitch, and you need to keep some sort of balance in there, you're not looking to just get as big as possible. Obviously, your protein needs are going to be far less than someone with those goals. But my point is, every single person alive has completely different genetics, biochemistry, different physiological and psychological, mental, emotional needs, and they react to stress differently. And stress actually determines your rate of protein synthesis. So there's actually no such thing as the right prescription of food, micronutrition, or macronutrient or micronutrient for any one individual, because there's so many different factors that can influence that uptake. And then you say, well, how much protein do they need? Well, that's actually not too hard. For someone who knows the symptoms of health and well-being pretty well, they know what their sort of normal recovery time from a workout would be. So say they go to the gym and they lift some weights, and they're still sore 72 hours after that traditional workout. Say they're doing 3 sets of an exercise or whatever, how many other exercises. If it's taking them longer than 72 hours to recover, then they're probably deficient in protein, or fat, or carbohydrate, or some other nutrient as well. I mean, protein is the major building block used to repair cells, and the first thing to happen to people that are protein deficient, generally they don't recover very well, they don't heal very well from an injury, and then they're usually probably consuming far too much carbohydrates, so they usually have sugar handling, blood sugar problems, where they're not eating enough protein. And then if they're not eating enough protein, it generally means they're not eating enough fat as well, because protein and fat generally occur together in most places in nature. So when you're having, typically I'd say people, not always, but people are having not having enough protein, generally are deficient in fat. I'd say most of the time. And then this can be based on all different reasons. You know, some people are doing it because of religious beliefs, and they don't realise that these religious beliefs, they've been based on someone who's maybe, say a Hindu for example, they listen to their guru who's a Hindu, and they come from a part of the planet where genetically they just didn't eat very much meat, and so therefore you're doing it in this part of the world and you're not getting enough protein, then all of a sudden you're in there for type 2 diabetes. You're just going to get a whole host of problems coming from that. If you're not, you really need to just eat for your genetic type, and the only way of identifying this really is if you feel satiated long enough. So when you're eating properly, if you're eating enough protein, you're going to feel like you don't need to eat a meal from now to 4 hours afterwards. You have improved mental clarity, you've got improved energy, you've got a greater sense of well-being, your capacity to handle stress is greater, and you're not suffering from cravings. So these are all things that you're going to get. Your body's going to tell you. For example, I just wanted to put this out there for Alex as well. For example, I don't really have protein powders, but every now and again I might have a scoop of something in a shake. And for example, he was talking about broccoli not having that much protein in it. For people out there, vegans, and if you're vegan, go for it. But something like this, Easy Protein, you can see on there, Easy Protein. So organic from Australia, it's a vegan protein powder. And for every 100 grams of it, it's got 72.4 grams of protein. So for every serving of 30 grams, it's got 21.7 grams of protein. And that's going to do a scoop of that or 2 scoops of that is going to go a long way to filling your protein needs for the day, if you're going to also eat meat on top of it. And this has got organic whole grain brown rice in it, organic maca, aramath, buckwheat, quinoa. I mean, it goes on and on. The list is ridiculous. I don't know if you can even see that in there. Absolutely brilliant. So, just how much protein do you need? Listen to your body. It will tell you everything you need to know, depending on what. Right, yeah, okay, yeah, they do, they cover everything in it, mate. They cover everything. So obviously you said before, do they have people talk about vegans being deficient in vitamin B12, for example, they get nutritional yeast. And yeah, this has got organic fermented sweet potato in it, mung beans, lentils, what else has it got in it? Grass, seeds, and I 100% agree with what you're saying there, Alex. A lot of them will have these, and there's lots of nutrients in meat that you can only find in meat. But in terms of uptake and in terms of the amount of protein they'll be getting per serving, it's a phenomenal powder. And it's all whole food based, so things like this are gonna really help increase. But I would always say, as I said to you before, quality over quantity. I'd rather you have 60 to 100 grams or even 60 grams of quality protein rather than 200 grams of toxic protein. That's what I would say on that. So 100% agree with what Alex is saying in terms of people going out there. And I've said it before, you don't always cleansing in a vegan way can be absolutely phenomenal for your system. But to go out there and say, look, I'm having more of my protein because I'm eating broccoli compared to someone who's out there eating grass-fed steak. I mean, it's just ludicrous. But you can fill your nutritional needs with protein from vegan sources. But later on down the line, it happens quite often, especially with men. They start to lose their libido. They start to have poor energy. Their muscle uptake. Your muscle uptake of vegan. I mean, you see a lot of vegans out there. And just because you're eating vegan doesn't mean you're eating well vegan. There's lots of people out there eating vegan and they're eating bread and pasta and all sorts of things that are inflammatory and not have high nutrients in them. And then there's other people out there that are eating really well on vegan, but they still don't have generally anywhere near the muscle or the definition that someone who's eating animal foods does. So yeah, 100% agree with what Alex is saying there. I just wanted to say quality over quantity and just sort of to bust that myth a little bit, because your stress, the quality of your foods that you're eating, your genetic individuality, your biochemistry all play a huge part in how much protein you need. So listen to your body, guys. That is the best way you're going to be able to determine how much you need, and go by how you look and how you feel. Okay, hope this has helped. And Alex, nice one, keep doing your thing, mate. Obviously a quality coach, anyone who's down in Brighton who needs a trainer, or anyone who needs to get fit down in Brighton, give Alex a shout. He's down there. Okay guys, stay happy, stay healthy, speak to you soon.